first, let me just ask the burning question. What happened at Zero Avia? I saw a press release on, I think, May 29th. Can you give us the skinny?
Yeah, so I stepped down as a CEO. Still, obviously, founded the company. Still the largest shareholder on the board of the company. But we just realized that with the basically moving the entire company to the UK and focusing on deliverable, on the certification of the first product. This is really these two things. It would make sense to have a new lead coming in that would be a local to the team in the UK, in Campbell, and where we do most of the work, and also have some certification experience delivering the product and having the team really focused on one thing, delivery of the first product. Yeah, and as I remember, last year, years before, we were running multiple product programs at the same time, working on large aircraft, working on liquid hydrogen, working on high temperature fuel cells. There are a lot of programs running all together, flight testing, all of that. So there was a lot of activity, and so there's a significant US team as well. And now, because of the funding environment last year, we had to contract quite a bit and focus. And we were fortunate enough to get all the support that we got from our existing investors, and we're able to push forward with our mission. But need to reconfigure, as that reconfiguration kind of drove this change.
Thank you for sharing that. How much of a role do you think the new administration played in that?
Significant, I would say, and not so much direct role. Yeah, but there was some direct implication as well, because we were working with the Department of Energy, for example, on the loan program office side for manufacturing facility in the U.S. So that was all paused basically and cut down. But most of the effect, I would say, was indirect through as we were going for the new rounds of financing. Investors started asking, like, "Hey, there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what this new administration is going to do. Look at all the Dodge effects and all of those things." And people were just sitting on their hands, right? So that and arguably still a little bit
Thinking
of
the same
that.
thing.
Yeah, and now also there is a new shiny thing around the block, right? Everybody's talking about AI and data centers and all of those things, right? So you have a combination of a huge uncertainty on the everything sustainability, and at the same time a new shiny object here. So investors are like, okay, we're gonna look here now. And we've seen this play out over the last 18 months quite a bit.
What percent, just give or take, of Zero Obvious efforts, when doing a technology that is heavily regulated in aerospace, medicine, or any of these things, what percent do you think of your work went into policy and government affairs?
Yeah, yeah. Well, depending on how you define it, I would define it broadly as interaction with the government, and with that definition, 90+%
Hmm.
is what we do right now, and what we need to do in the next 18 months is all government related, right? Because
Hmm.
we need to certify, like you said, technology works. In fact, our designs are locked down basically. Yeah, so we need to do the proper testing in a certified facility, which we built out in the UK. It's the world's largest and most sophisticated, we think, test facility for hydrogen aviation. Yeah, high power testing systems, full simulation of all environments, and all that. And that's what you need to get, what you need to have in order to produce the test data that you can then submit to the regulators, right? But it's all about regulators. Yeah, you're dealing with the aviation authority, you're dealing with the policy people, so it's 90+% at this point. And before last December when we had our latest round and had to sort of focus the company
Mhm.
quite a bit more. Before that, we run several programs concurrently, right? And then it would have been like, hey, maybe 50% of our efforts are on the kind of government
Mhm.
related certification, all that, and another 50 are for the next product lines, right?
Mhm.
So there's R&D there, right? Because we're not just stopping at small aircraft. The hydrogen story is around all sizes of aircraft. Eventually, the largest aircraft
Right.
will fly on hydrogen, and therefore, we're working on the immediate certification program, but at the same time, also, okay, the next aircraft is going to be this size, and we need to develop the propulsion systems for that. We're not at the certification point yet, and we need two years of R&D, and we were doing it.
Mhm.
Now we kind of froze most of that, vast majority of that, to focus on the first certification. So we made it more sequential, and that brings this government dependency to 90 plus.
If you're, operating in a heavily regulated industry, it's all like in hindsight, would you have done more with regulation? I would almost think like before I invest all of this money in R&D or, spend a lot of time going after like VC funding, I almost would maybe start like once I knew that it worked, start the government education and agency engagement like immediately. Do you ever think about that, or would you have done anything different with government in hindsight?
It's a good question. No, I don't think we would have done a lot of things differently. Maybe some. All right. So we would. Okay. So what we would have done differently, what could be useful differently, is not is a step kind of beyond just engaging earlier. It's more of a structural step, and we've been able to get this eventually with the UK
Hmm.
regulator. Yeah, but that step is um, setting up a new structure at the regulator that is able to work with companies like us
Mm.
much in a much more flexible and rapid cycle.
Hmm.
Right. So in the UK, we've set up, or the regulator set up, based on our feedback and some others' feedback, what they call a hydrogen sandbox.
Mm.
That they said, hey, our standard regulatory processes are too slow, right? And they're optimized for more products of the same technology, basically a new turbine engine, for example, right? So
Hmm.
technology is same-ish,
Hmm.
yeah. You just bring new product configuration into it, but the 90% of the design is like, okay, it's going to be compressor, there's going to be turbine blades, there's going to be combustion core, there's going to be fuel system, all that, right? So
Hmm.
that's known. So you start with that base, and then 10% on top of that is new, right? So
Hmm.
you deal with 10%. Now we're coming in and we're like, well, as 100% new or 90% new,
Right.
right? And they're not set up. None of the regulators set up well for that. So in the UK, we've set up this hydrogen sandbox where people are less constrained on how they can engage with us, and we're able to go through much faster,
Hmm.
right, through the iterations and kind of understanding what the regulations should be
Hmm.
much faster. And that's what we need to do across the board. I
Hmm.
think EU, EASA is kind of in the middle there, and FAA really needs to kind of step up, I think, on that in that department. Um, and that would be helpful. And then we could engage earlier and more, right?
Hmm.
Because we tried engaging with the standard structures earlier, and basically what we get is like, well, we want you guys to show up when you have a final design. And
Hmm.
we're like, but we would love to get feedback on the
Right.
design and what can be certifiable and how you guys would think about it. And they're just not set up for that.
Hmm.
Okay. And the sort of the saying going in the industry is that you don't ask a regulator,
You
right?
tell
You
them.
tell a regulate you tell them,
Yeah.
right? And then see what comes back, right?
Yeah.
Because if you ask, you're setting yourself up for a forever type situation.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's in the new So the technology environment, this is not an optimal way to do it, right? We
Mhm.
need this more rapid iteration because eventually we do need to certify these, like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
We do need to certify those things, and in the traditional sort of regulatory work environment, we're forced to figure it out before we show up,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
But then if you have completely new tech, there is a high probability that what you figure out is going to be wrong, right? And then you're sent back to the drawing board, right?
Mm.
So I think that would be a good structural change that needs to happen. And hopefully, UK has a good example. Maybe EU will have a good example. And by the time the US gets back to like, okay, well, we now can talk about these things again,
Mhm.
right? We'll have those good examples that US can draw from.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Very good. I'll have to look into the hydrogen sandbox. That's through CAA.
CAA, yeah.
Okay. I definitely want to look at that.